You'll be meeting Natalie again this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, well, it's wonderful to be a part of this amazing event. And I unfortunately just got in today, so I'm only catching the last bits of it. And I think you're all coming out to the big do tonight, so we'll see you there. But the music that I play is from Cape Breton Island, the island off the coast of Nova Scotia, eastern Canada. And it's it comes from Scotland. It came over from Scotland with the Highland clearances, and the people, of course, brought with them their culture and their language, and of course the music and the dancing, and settled in New Scotland, Nova Scotia. And the music that has existed in Cape Breton over a couple hundred years is the oldest style of Scottish music you can find anywhere today, including in Scotland, because over time, the Scottish music has evolved much more than the music in Cape Breton. And that's because of different factors. It's hard to really know why that is, but I think the competitive aspect has had a lot to do with it. As soon as you start competing in something, you have to make rules, and then things have to be a certain way. Fortunately, in Cape Breton, we've never had fiddle contests or dancing contests or anything like that. So I think it's one of those things that's been passed down from generation to generation, and that has certainly been my case. I grew up in a very musical family. Um, not just my immediate family, but also my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, my great grandparents, my great great grandparents, and so on and so on. There was some sort of music in the family on both sides, whether it be, dancers or fiddlers or Gaelic singers, piano players. All my aunts play piano on one side of the family, all my aunts on the other side dance, dancing aunts. And my uncle is Buddy MacMaster, who's probably the most well-known of the Cape Breton style fiddlers. And so when I was 9, I picked up the fiddle for the first time. A relative had given me a three-quarter size fiddle, which was perfect for me at the time. And previous to that, I'd been step dancing. My mom had taught me to dance. She was a wonderful dancer, and still is, but she doesn't do it in public anymore after having her babies. And um, So by the time I started playing the tunes, I had heard a lot of the music, just even from dancing to it, and also in my house. Mom would always have the tape recorder on and music playing, and or we'd go to a family function and there'd be music everywhere. So when I started, it came quite naturally to me because of my environment and because of my family, and thus that's how I developed a career in fiddling. Um, it's a different story for me than other artists, other performers, musicians, because of where I grew up. It is such an important part of how I got where I am and the style of music that I play. In that, when you're 9 years old and you're the niece of Buddy MacMaster and the daughter of Minnie MacMaster, the dancer, and it's funny, they always pick on my dad because when he was growing up, he was Buddy MacMaster's brother. Then he married my mom. Then he became Minnie Beaton's husband, and then he had me, and now he's Natalie MacMaster's father. Anyway, so um, the word travels fast. It's a small area, and there are a lot of summer community festivals that take place that rely on local talent. And so I was playing gigs. My first gig was 6 months after I started playing. I hadn't even taken lessons yet. And my dad taught me a few tunes. He doesn't really play, but he's got a great ear. And I played at a concert, made $20. So people ask me when I turned pro. Well, that was it. Um, and as I said, it was very easy to perform in front of crowds because there were so many venues and places to play, especially in the summertime. So as I was playing, I started out in little concerts in the summertime mostly, and then it became a little more frequent, and I started playing outside of Cape Breton, into mainland Nova Scotia. I made my first trip to the States. I went to Boston when I was 12, and I played for a square dance. And a square dance, which is another very, very important element of the music, as is the dancing in general, is basically, four couples to a set. Everybody dances three figures, two jig figures and a reel figure. You guys, do you know what jigs and reels are? Okay. You don't have to. They're types of tunes. Anyway, so it takes about 20 minutes to do, and over the course of 3 hours you might fit in 8 sets. And there's one fiddler, one piano player, and they sit there and they play straight for 3 hours. So it's a real good workout. And I must say, when we're traveling every day, and the way things have got for me now is that we're touring all the time and playing shows, and people say, where do you get your energy? Well, I certainly, I have to go back home and play for a square set now is much more, takes a lot more energy to play a concert on stage because it's just so much more intense. So the dancing, and there are solo dancers as well that dance with the music, and the music I will play at the end of this little speech. I will play some tunes for you, and the groove and the energy in the music and the pulse that's in the tunes. It's so strong, and it comes. I believe it's there because of the strength of the dancing, and you have to have good timing for the dancers, and you have to make sure that your music is lively for them want to get up and dance, and it has to stay in a steady groove to be good for the dancing. So anyway, I continued on playing and playing, go through high school, miss a lot of time. I made my first recording when I was 16. It was called Four on the Floor, which means four couples to a set dancing. Okay. And that went over very well for me. I made the whole thing, I recorded it and mixed it, did the whole works in one day. Now I look at in my hands that I just did last year, and it took me 3 months. So times have changed, and I think my ear has gotten better as time has gone on. But I was so oblivious to the process of recording that I thought that you had to. I recorded all the tracks in order that I wanted them to appear on the album. Because I didn't know they didn't have to be recorded like that. Thank you. So, um, and then I went to college. I went to teachers' college because I love children, and I had done some work with the primary teacher at school just on my free periods to help out. And we were encouraged at that time, as we still are, to continue on your education and either go to university or college or something. So I decided that would be most appropriate for me because I loved kids, and also I was managing. At the time, I was playing on weekends, evenings, summers, holidays, so I was able to go to school and still play. So I figured I'll become a teacher. Well, I my third year, it started getting really, really heavy. My, traveling with the music, to the point where my fourth year I decided to go part time, and I finished my degree through correspondence. Anyway, it hasn't. The piece of paper hasn't budged. It's still in the back pocket, and I think it's going to stay there for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever get around to teaching. And meanwhile, my career has blossomed. I have wonderful people working for me, a great manager, wonderful agents, and great record companies. And all these things have enabled me to do what I need to do, which is the music. And as time goes on, it's amazing, but I can go home now, and after being everywhere in the world and seeing all sorts of different sights, I can go back home to Cape Breton and just, of all the music, that's it for me. That's just my favorite. And because I'm away from it so much, when I get back home, I actually get quite emotional about it. I'm sitting there and everybody's driving around the dance floor, and my uncle or whatever's playing, and I'm in the corner crying. Well, that's happened only a couple of times. I try and hide it, but it's just such a beautiful thing to me now, especially, you don't appreciate what you have until you get away from it and see. And Cape Breton is certainly very, very unique and special place in the world. And I look at people like my Uncle Buddy and other great, amazing fiddlers that nobody's ever heard of because they never had the opportunity to travel with their music. And they always had other jobs that they had to have for income. They may have played at the odd square dance on the weekends, and that's pretty much it. When I made my first album, I was 16, as I mentioned. My uncle made his first album at the same time, and he was 60. So imagine waiting 60 years and fiddling since you were 3 years old before you made your first album. It just wasn't, we're so fortunate today because we have the means to be able to record. And the world's mind has opened up to so many different styles of music, including Cape Breton style. And I just, people say, "Oh, you're such a great fiddler, and your style is so wonderful." And I'm thinking, that this is nothing. You should hear the old guys. They're so great. Anyway, I'm gonna play a little tune here for you. A medley of tunes, actually, which is very typical to the Cape Breton style of music. And I'm going to start with a march, and then I'm going to go into a couple of strathspeys, and then into some reels. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you tonight.